Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Siti Rosyiani Khalisha from Pragamatics A2 class. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my analysis about one video that talked about speech by Kohn. She is a political commentator for CNN and former contributor to Fox News. So in her speech, she discovered that we all hate, some of us in subtle ways and others in obvious ones. As she confronts a hard story from her own life, she shares ideas on how we can recognize, challenge, and heal from hatred in our institution and in ourselves. So this speech is delivered in TED events and with the title What We Can Do About the Culture of Hate. So her speech begins with her explanation about herself. Like what other people see from her, what others' perspective for her. So she said that people tell me I'm a nice person. The point where it's part of my personal and professional identity that I'm so nice and able to get along with anyone. So first she praises herself about consider about the people's perspective about her. Then she also made a statement that, but what no one knows is that I was a bully. Okay, so actually this has a contradiction with the previous statement that she is a nice person. So in this statement that she begins with intensify interest to hearer means that she is making a good story. She starts a good story with her past and will continue to the main point of hate. Okay, so the story begins with her story about being a bully. Then there is a statement that the more people started to praise me for being a liberal who could get along with conservatives, and the more I wrote articles about being nice and gave talks about being nice, the more I felt this hypocrisy creeping up inside me. Okay, then what if I was actually really mean? Okay, the point of this sentence, what if I was actually really mean, I think that is a modesty maxim, means that she maximizing this price of herself. He marked herself as a mean person because she did a bully. Okay, then the argument continue with the intensify interest with her own story. So he make a good story by giving his past story about her experience about bullying. After describing herself as a bully, then he start giving real evidence, proof that she wasn't a good person. Okay. Stated by, when I was 10 years old, there was a girl in my class at school named Vicky. That statement starts the whole story. Then the next statements, she talked about Vicky. Vicky is the one who she bullied when she is in 5th grade. Okay. Then there is a statement here. It doesn't make any better, does it? Okay, the previous statement like, and I tormented her mercilessly. Everyone did, even the teachers picked on her. Then she is seek agreement to the audience by saying, it doesn't make any better, does it? By asking the audience that her attitudes towards Vicky is not right. Okay, then the next statement that I'm pointing out is, now to put this in perspective, I can't remember the names of my teacher. I can't remember the names of any of the books I read that year. I pretty much can't remember anything from 5th grade. But I remember that Vicky taught me she used white rain shampoo. I think this is an exaggerated intonation and aspects of prosthetics. Why? Because I think why she couldn't remember anything from the 1st grade except the white rain shampoo. I think she is exaggerated to point out, to highlight the point of she already bullied Vicky, and it made a really bad impressive for herself. Okay, then in the story about Vicky, she also intensified interest to hearer by making a statement that she couldn't remember anything in 5th grade except Vicky taught her she used white rain shampoo, like I told before. Okay, so we move to the next statement. Okay, then she talked about the memory about Vicky, and the argument that she needed to know that she was okay and that she hadn't ruined her life. Okay, and it's continued by, but what I quickly realized was I wasn't just trying to figure out what happened to Vicky. I was trying to figure out what happened to me. Okay, so in the sentence, she starts giving a statement about hate. This is the main point of her speech. Okay, then the next statement is she talked about her 10 years old experience, and she said like, what kind of a nice person does that? I mean, I know I was only a kid, but not all kids do that. Most kids don't do that. No, don't do that, right? So what if I wasn't nice after all? I was really just a hateful monster. Okay, and the sentence of what kind of a nice person does that, she asked reasons to the audience, and asked reasons, am I a good person? Am I having a bad attitude to Vicky or not, and something like that. Then she is seeking agreement to the audience with the word, most kids don't do that, right? Then the way she shook is possible that we as a hearer agree with her. Like, actually, whole attitudes, all her attitudes towards Vicky was wrong. Okay, then there is a statement in minutes 4, I think. I felt more hateful, rageful, really. I noticed the world around me seemed to be getting more hateful too. Like there was this steady undercurrent of hate bubbling up all around us and increasingly overflowing. Okay, this is the feeling what that she said about her surrounding, that getting more hateful, like the way she felt about herself. I think this is a notice about the world's condition, because it is including the participant here. I mean, why I categorize it by notice? Because she noticed that not only me as a speaker that felt I have many wrong with my attitude toward a bully, but I think you as an audience also had make a problem or something that related with this hate. So she includes the participants here and noticed that this world condition nowadays is not only her that has a problem, but as also you as a hero and people around her and around the world. Okay, then next argument is about indirectness. She stated that I did what all overly intellectual people do when they have a problem that they want to understand, and I wrote a book. Okay, I think this is a statement that she indirectly stated that she is also an intellectual people, right? So that is why the audience are laughing at the next statement. Okay, this is an indirectness. Then after that, she stated that I wrote a book about hate. Spoiler alert, I'm against it. Okay, I think in that sentence she made jokes, Why I categorize it by a joke? Because the words I'm against it refer to her condition in the past when she was a bully. But no, she is trying to unravel and understand and fix the hate. So I think I'm against it. It's just to make audience realize that it's not a good thing to do, and she made it with a joke so that it means the what she did about write a book about hate is truly for unravel and understand her own hate and to try to figure out what is happened with the hate. Okay, I hope you understand it. Okay, then the next is she said that no, at this point you might be thinking to yourself, why are you all worried about hate? You didn't hate Vicky. Bullying isn't hate, isn't it? Okay, I point out about the sick agreement in phrase, isn't it? So she seek agreements with the hero because the statement that why are you all worried about hate? You didn't hate Vicky. Bullying isn't hate. She made a statement that bullying isn't hate and asked the audience that is not a hate, And with the statement bullying isn't hate, she also asked reasons indirectly make a declaration about bullying isn't hate. Okay. And next in the next statement she talked about the story about the psychologist who pioneered the study of hate in the early 1009. Okay, in this statement she intensified the interest to hearer. Why? Because she drew a hearer as a participant into the conversation with direct questions, and also made a good story that make a hearer will have an interesting to her story. Okay, so in the next statement she stated that I'm defining hate in a broad way because I think we have a big problem and we need to solve all of it, not just the most extremes. Then from some group of people because of their skin color or their gender, we all agree that's hate, right? Okay, so she again seek agreement and intensified to interest to hearer with the direct questions by saying we all agree that's hate, right? Okay. And then include both speaker and hearer in the activity. Why? Because in the sentence, I'm defining hate in broad way because I think we have a big problem. She tries to make the audience become the part of her story. Not only her that experience it, but she thinks that audience also have the experience about it. By using the word we have a big problem. Then, next statement is, I mean, they all have the same roots, don't they? And the historic patterns of racism and sexism that have shaped our history and still infect our society today. Isn't it all hate? Then again, she gave reasons that has is built in our society by states her argument about hate. Okay. Okay, then there is a next statement in minutes 9 in minutes 9, I think. Okay, wrong. We all hate, and I do not mean that in some abstract, generic sense. I mean all of us, me and you. The sentimentous pedestal of superiority on which we all place ourselves, and they are hateful and we are not, is a manifestation of the essential root of hate, that we are fundamentally good and they are not, which is what needs to change. Okay, at this point, she includes both speaker and hearer in the activity. She said that we all hate, and then we are fundamentally good and they are not, which is what needs to change. Okay, first, actually, she just feeling it by herself. Then, but the previous story, all the statements about hate, and slowly make the audiences feel like what she felt right now, and because of it, she became optimistic by saying optimistic because she and the audience already in the same positions. The optimistics is proved by saying we are fundamentally good and they are not, which is what needs to change. So she believes that everyone here, me and all of the audience, should make a change about hate in ourselves in our society. Okay. Now we move to the next statement. Okay. There's a statement in minutes 9:37, 9:30, about 9:30. Okay, so the statement is, so in trying to understand and solve hate, I read every book and every research study I could find, but I also went and talked to some former Nazis and some former terrorists and some former genocidal killers, because I figured if they could figure out how to escape hate, surely the rest of us could. Okay, so the statement that I write before is I categorize it in over and promise. Why? Because first, the way she overt is by trying to understand and solve hate. She collect all the evidence by reading a book and research the study and collect all the evidence. Even she also talked to some former Nazis and some former terrorists, even the former genocidal killers. So the way she proved to the audience that she already trying to understand and solve hate. And then what is the premise? Okay, so the premise, she promises by saying, I figured that if they could figure out how to escape hate, surely the rest of us could. So she's talking about is she believes that the one who made mistakes about how to escape about something, and they try to figure out how to escape hate, why we couldn't. So she promised that if they did, we also can do that. Okay, so in the next statement, after that, in the next statement, she told a story about her experience with former terrorists that became a peaceful peace activists. Okay, so next statement is also about over and promise. It is a story about how she met a former terrorist that in his previous life she became a terrorist because a soldier killed his child. Then she tried to find out about his enemy. Then he go to study about what his enemy did, and then suddenly he discovered that we can be peace. Their stories and working together for peace, he overcome his hate. So in this story, she stated that former terrorists can be a peace activist. Then she said that I promise you, none of us pops out of the womb hating black people or Republicans. For better or for worse, we are all a product of the culture around us. And the good news is we're also the ones who shape that culture, which means we can change it. Okay, in the statement, again and again, she made audience sure about the changes that will happen if they trying to figure out about hate itself from ourselves and also from our society. And then I also found the directness. She stated that we need to catch ourselves and our hateful thoughts in all their forms, in all of us. So she directly stated about what should we do to overcome our hate. And the first step is starting to recognize the hate inside ourselves. And the next step to overcome the hate is we need to promote policies and institutions and practices that connect us as community. It is also she directly stated about her opinions how to overcome hate. She stated that by having a research, like I stated before, research and then the interviews with the former terrorists, genocidal killers, and etc. Okay. Then she also made a directness by saying, I'm telling you right here, it is a lifelong journey, but it's one we all need to take. So it means that she said that this is a hard thing to do. She directly said that, but actually there is a indirect message in the sentence. Why? Because there is a phrase, it is a lifelong journey. Journey, so means that to get the top of something that we will get, we should have a journey. We should through the obstacles of these lives, and then we should never give up. But in the end, one step that we do about to change is important, because she said that one we all need to take. So if we try to start it right now, then I think she thinks the change will happen. Okay. Then the next statement is in minutes 14. We need to change that. Again, it will not happen overnight. It needs to happen. Okay, I categorize the statement with indirectness. Why? Because she said that it will not happen overnight. Itu tidak akan terjadi selama satu malam saja. So, it means that the indirectness of this message that it will happen in a long time. So we need a process to change something wrong to make it right. So it's not happen overnight means that we need a long time to change about something, and in this case we should change the hate in ourselves and in our society. Okay, so in the end of her speech, not the in the end, before the end of the speech, she declared she giving a statement about Sally tries to give her understanding and sympathy. Even it will take a long time, the change is possible. The conclusion is those kind of thing. So the statement is, I have solved it all, right? That's it. That is pretty much. There's a few details, but that's pretty much all we have to do. It's not that complicated, right? But it's hard. The hate that we feel towards certain groups of people because of who they are or what they believe is so ingrained in our minds and in our society that it can feel inevitable and impossible to change. Change is possible. Just look at the terrorists who become a peace activist, or look at the bully who learned to apologize to her victim. So in the statement, she give gift to hearer. She give the understanding. She give a sympathy to the one who don't believe this change will happen. So in this sentence, in the statement, she stated that the change will happen. The change is possible if we try and try. If we try starts from ourselves, within ourselves, she believes that this change will happen. So, and he also make an review her story about the terrorists. She made a statement like, just look at the terrorists who become a peace activist, or look at the bully who learned to apologize to her victim. So she gives a spirit to the audiences, so the audience will believe that her intention to make all of the audience believe that change is possible will accept by the audience by giving an evidence about the former terrorists, and also the evidence by herself, by her own experience during overcome a hate. How can she overcome her hate? By being a bully first, then she realized it is a wrong thing to do, and he tried to understand and analyze about how we can overcome the hate. So in this speech, she really delivered the point of hate is really clear, and with authentic example. She made a real example of her life, and then real experience about herself and also about others, so the audience will understand about what is she going to deliver. And in her speech, the point of her speech is persuade other people, persuade the audience to make a change about what we can do about the culture of hate, what we can see or change our perspective about hate within ourselves and our society. So with those real examples that the audience and the hearer will understand what is she talking about. Okay, the most analysis about her speech is she mostly used the intensify interest to hearer. Why? Because she made a good story than including the hearer to her story, so the audience will feel the same way what she felt about hate itself. Then she also made a story with a real story by the former terrorists and also other subjects of who overcome their hate by trying and to figure out what is the problem. Is it in ourselves, or is it in other people or in our society? So the last statement of her in the end of her speech is, I'm not going to lie, I wanted to be forgiven and wasn't. So she said that she wrote a letter to Vicky, to the victim that she bullied in 5th grade, and the next statement is she talked about what Vicky said, what Vicky replied about her apologies. She said that she offered me sort of conditional forgiveness. What she wrote was, messages such as yours cannot absolve you of your past actions. The only way to do that is improve the world, prevent others from behaving in similar ways and foster compassion. And Vic is right, which is why I'm here. Okay, the world, which is why I'm here, is an indirect message that she's here. She is on the stage, deliver her speech about hate. That is one of, it means that is one of her action, her proof that Vicky said, to prevent others from behaving in similar ways and foster compassion. Okay, so I think that's all from analysis. I'm sorry if there were a lot of mistakes of this video. I think you will understand with what I'm saying about this video. So thank you for your attention. The last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.